Hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer Maker, and today I have special visitors. I am joined by two Cricut team members who helped bring the new Cricut Explore 3 and Cricut Maker 3 to life. This is my first ever interview with anyone from Cricut, and I have so many questions. So let's get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer Maker, and I have a really special treat for you today. I am here with two employees from Cricut who helped to introduce the new Cricut Maker 3 and the Cricut Explore 3 cutting machines to us. I am so excited. I've never had the chance to interview someone from Cricut before. This is the first time ever. And so here with us today, we have Lindsay, Director of Product Launch Management, and Douglas, who is the Hardware Product Manager for the new machines. And I'm just going to jump into this because I'm so excited to ask them questions. All right, so Lindsay, I want to know, how long have you been at Cricut, and what exactly is a product launch director or product launch management? Please tell us.
I will do my best. So I've been at Cricut for almost 3.5 years now, and we only had a few things that we were coming out with at that time, and now my team has really grown. So now, people at Cricut, we love to innovate. And so we are coming out with new products, as you guys all know, all the time. At least we're trying to. So through that process, I have the opportunity to work on all of our different product launches. And I work with all sorts of teams throughout the company. So we work really closely with Douglas's team for product management, as well as the sales team and operations and creative and marketing, and everyone that needs to come together to really say, what are we going to tell everyone about these machines and how are we going to do it? So it's a lot of fun, and I get to work on all of the different products, including all of our heat presses and cutting machines and materials. So it is a great way to learn all sorts of things about the Cricut business and all of our awesome products.
So you're basically the director of all the secret new stuff that's coming up that none of us know about.
Well, right? I can't say that. I don't know anything about what you're talking about.
I don't know about anything new that's coming either, but I'm assuming that I know Cricut is always working on things, developing things, innovating. So you know about all the secret things that you're working on. Not that I'm going to ask you, don't worry. All right, and Douglas, tell us, how long have you been at Cricut, and what exactly do you do there as a product manager, hardware product manager specifically?
Yeah, I've been at Cricut about 3.5 years in that role, hardware product manager. And basically what that means is I'm on the machines team representing our members. So, what do you find valuable in our cutting machines? What do you love? What can we do more of? What improvements can we make to these machines to make your life better and easier and to help you be more creative? So I represent those needs with a broader team, and I work with everyone from our mechanical engineers and industrial design to design and actually make the machine, to people like Lindsay to launch it in our marketing team and legal and everyone else. I'm really honored to get to work with a lot of smart people, and I just try to represent our members as best I can.
That's so cool. So you're basically solving all of our needs when you're creating the products, which is a big deal. Solving problems and making sure that we're able to do all the things that we can do on our cutting machine is huge. And I really appreciate it. Thank you. Because the new machines are so cool. Being able to cut without a mat is like game changing. Like seriously, I have so many old mats from all the things I've ever done, and being able to just put that vinyl in there when I want to cut, or when I was doing my signs, I did one and then I'm like, it was so fast, I couldn't get a video of it. I'm like, well, no big deal. Let's just do it again, because it was so easy to just keep, it was so easy. So it's off the mat for the smart materials, and it is faster. So, and I did test to see how much faster. And in my test, it was over 2 times faster. It was like just under 2.5 times, as I recall. And it's like seriously so fast. I love that. Were you part of making it faster too?
Yeah, that was one of the big drives in iterating on the Explore Air 2 and the Cricut Maker is how can we get you from, this wonderful idea that you have for creativity to actually realizing it and having something that you love or that you can gift or share with somebody else that they're going to find value in. So a lot of it came down to just giving our members more time back. And that's where the speed comes in. We offer products that enable your creativity by acting as tools. And in a way, the less time you can be cutting and the more time you can actually be crafting and sharing and loving what you've made, the better we've done our job. And so that's been one of our main focuses on these new machines.
I agree. And I think it's really wonderful. Seriously, the first time I saw it cut, I'm like, whoa. Like it's just so fast. In fact, I'm like, is it actually going to do a good job cutting that fast? And I compared like directly, like how does it compare to like when I cut it, like on my older Maker or Explorer, and it's just as good. It's really, really good. And I know that you have taken you collectively, Cricut, have taken a lot of care to make sure the quality remains, even though you sped it up, right?
Yeah, that was no small feat to go twice as fast and still maintain that same precision and clarity of cut that you're used to. There were countless hours put in by countless team members to try to find that really sweet spot for our smart materials. And
yeah,
I couldn't be more proud of the team for having reached the goals that we did.
I can imagine. I have no idea what it looks like, but I imagine all of these tests going on and materials everywhere and machines. And Ashish, who is the CEO of Cricut, for anyone who doesn't know, he posted an image of, I guess, I don't know which machine it was, but it didn't have its case on, and you could see like gears on the side, and I'd never seen that before. And it was actually really cool to see that and imagine all of the testing and the tweaking that would go behind the scenes. I mean, as consumers, we get the machines, we bring them home, we make them, and we just are like, it's like magic to us. But you actually make the magic happen, and it's very, very cool. And okay, so I have a question for each of you. What is your favorite feature of the new machines? So there's a lot of really cool things. They go faster. They can cut without a mat. They can do really long cuts. We can do print then cut on colored paper over on the Explorer, which we couldn't do before. So I want to know, Lindsay, what is your favorite feature of either of the Explorer 3 or the Maker 3?
So my favorite feature, and this one is one of the obvious ones, but it's the matless feature. And the reason that I love it so much is like all the reasons Douglas is saying, like the machine itself is faster, so your cuts go by, but cutting matless and not having, like, it's amazing how much time you have to spend unloading, reloading a mat. And I think that that's time that you just don't really count when you're thinking about how long it takes you to make your project. And so I would have like some mats prepped, for when I was making either bigger or longer or more things, and just not having to do that. Like I'm already either spending more time designing or I'm already getting into putting my project together. So it just makes it so much faster. And it's like, we all love crafting and making projects. So I want to be spending my time doing this, but I also don't want it to be like arduous. And so just not having to load all those mats to me was like mind blowing the first times I was using it.
I can't agree more. And one of the other, as a person who teaches others how to create Cricut crafts, one of the things that beginners struggle with is their mat sticky enough? And they don't realize it's just sticking. My stuff is sticky. And like, we don't have to worry about this anymore, right? Whether your mat is new or old, or if it's got little bits of paper on it, because you've eliminated that. So that's really, really nice. And it makes my life really good.
I totally agree. Because it's amazing like how like your mat plays into how well your
it does. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize it. For paper crafts, that needs to be a really sticky mat. I'm constantly saying, when people ask me how, it didn't cut well, I'm like, how sticky is your mat?
Exactly.
You gotta be really sticky.
I know. That's why I don't know if you've had a chance yet to try our smart paper sticker cardstock.
I have.
That paper was like life-changing to me.
I absolutely agree. It's amazing. We did a really cool butterfly project. This was so neat. You can load it up, you can cut it, and you can assemble this 3D butterfly in under 15 minutes because you're cutting it faster and there's no mat. It's literally just putting it all in, taking it all off. There's no like little bits of, like the glue or the adhesive that we normally use because it's got the adhesive on it, and then you stick it together and you have like a gift ready to go in under 15 minutes. I made my team do it so we could be sure that it was really under 15 minutes for everybody. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that. All right, Douglas, what is your favorite new feature of the Cricut Maker or the Cricut Explore 3?
I'm all about things that make me look more creative than I actually am. I love that when people think I have these superpowers. And if I can get there by taking the easiest road possible, the least hassle, I love it. So it's actually a tie for me. There's so many cool things that we've put into these new machines, but one of the ones I love the most is our auto align feature. So even if I'm not taking the greatest of care and I don't put my smart material in perfectly straight without a mat, or maybe my leading edge isn't perfectly straight, even though we recommend that, my machine has got my back. We've optimized the mat guides inside of the machine to better capture and guide your material. And we've also added that new set of mat guides on the door so that, even though I'm imperfect as a crafter, my machine helps me look better than I actually am. And I love that. That's something that really sets Cricut apart from most other companies. Is, we've got your back and you don't have to worry about those longer lengths and possibly ruining material.
Right. Yeah, no, Cricut makes this look really, really good. I agree. I love those guides. It really helps even when I'm putting a mat in, because I know that I'm getting in. It's really nice. Great addition. Thank you very much for adding that. All right. So for those people who might not be really aware of I've named a few things that are different about the Cricut Maker 3 and the Cricut Explore 3, but I don't think I've gotten all of them. For example, Douglas, you just mentioned the auto align feature. So I would like to hear from you two what you feel the changes to these two machines are.
Well, besides, sort of the big ones that we've talked about, so the ability to cut matless, the speed, Douglas hit on the auto alignment, which is definitely one of those features that doesn't get as much limelight, but it certainly makes your cuts that much better. Another, this is more of a design feature, but we added in the Explore 3, there's also now a device tray where there isn't one.
That's right, there is. Yeah.
And even just having your device sit on your machine is so much more convenient. So I love that feature. I also love the way that they kind of redesign, and Douglas can talk more about this because this is really his bread and butter. But the storage on the sides of the machine, the storage cubes, are a little bit different than what we had done previously. And so I can fit more tools in there, which makes me happy because I'm not constantly trying to look for them.
Yeah, we've tried to optimize storage and give you as much space to work with as possible. So, you have the flap on the open door of your machine that you can put blades and tools and everything else. And something that I'm really happy about is on the Explore 3, we were able to remove that cartridge adapter. Cartridges by now have gotten, just so old.
I've never used it ever, the whole time, never once.
Yeah, everything is digital nowadays. And so it just made sense to do away with that old technology and give you more space for, hand tools, blades, M&Ms, whatever you want to put in that tool cup on the left-hand side on your Explore 3. And we've given you more space there.
One other thing on the Explore 3 is we removed the dial. And so all of our material settings for both Maker 3 and Explore 3 are all integrated into Design Space. And I really love that because you have a fully integrated software experience where, all of the material settings are in there for you and you're able to go in and customize as you need. But they're all there sort of at your fingertips, and the flow of it, I think, makes perfect sense.
It does. I am so happy that you removed that smart dial off the Explorers because well, I've always been telling people to switch it to custom and always keep it there. But the truth is that when you like move your Cricut around or you like lean over it, you bump it, you can move that dial and not notice it and then be like, well, where's all my material settings? So that was definitely time to say adios to that dial. So that's a great upgrade there.
It was really cool. It's funny because it just, that the dial is like such a great example of, you know, not just Cricut, but just technology innovation. Just because when we came out with our first Explore machine, the dial was,
it's a big deal, right?
Shattering. Yeah.
I think it was. I wasn't around, but I seemed like you called it a smart dial. Like, yes. I'm sure it was a big deal.
It was a really big deal. And it was the first time, you know, on a smart cutting machine like that you could really, you know, dial in, no pun intended, your material cut settings. And so, but it's awesome to see one of the things I do love about Cricut is, you know, we do talk about innovation and like we move on with the technology, and the dial was awesome when it came out and it served its purpose. And now we all want to integrate it into the software. So it's been really cool to kind of see those iterations as well as we move forward.
It is so important too that we keep moving forward and we don't get stuck with what was familiar and comfortable, and we keep up, right? It's very important. So when the Maker 3 and Explore 3 were announced, I'll be honest, I heard lots of, oh, you know, I'm fine where I am, or I'm used to this, I'm happy here. They don't need to do that. They should do other things. No, they shouldn't. They should absolutely, should be innovating and creating and keeping up with technology. Speaking of which, I understand that you upgraded the motors in the Maker 3 and Explore 3. And I didn't really learn a lot about that when I was being taught about the machines. And I would love to hear from you, Douglas, about how those were upgraded.
The motors are just one part of a whole system that we've redesigned. So these machines, you know, the Maker 3 looks somewhat similar to the Maker. Explore 3, we've changed more things versus the Air 2, but really under the hood, you have this whole ecosystem of parts working together that are just completely different from what we've had in the past. And all of that has been done to really support the three key pillars of these new machines, which is, you know, can I use smart materials in my new machine, supporting that matless story, and then the longer lengths that are possible with those smart materials. I can cut single images now up to 12 feet instead of being limited by that 2 foot.
Awesome.
As well as speeds, you know, if I use smart materials off of a mat, I can go 2 times as fast as fast mode with Air 2 and Maker. So the motors are just one of the pieces that has enabled all three of those things to happen. You know, we need bigger motors with more power to then be able to drive these faster speeds. We've improved the gears and a whole bunch of technical stuff, you know, inside of the machine.
I love technical stuff. I mean, I know it gets glossed over, but I think it's actually really important for everyone to understand. This is it. The great thing about the Cricut cutting machines, they look so friendly. They really do. I love them. They're super adorable and cute. But under the hood, there is a lot going on that we don't see and we don't need to see either. We just need it to work for us. But I think that it's underappreciated about how cool it really is.
Yeah, I mean, and it's the little things too. A lot of people have commented on or noticed how much quieter the new machines are versus last generation. And if we want to get technical, you know, we've optimized something as small as the teeth on the gears that drive your materials travel with. So, you know, there used to be more space between the gears, and now we've kind of tightened those up so that you're having less noise as they interact with each other. It's little things like that that Cricut really puts a lot of attention to detail in and says, you know, this is a use case, this is in people's homes, they have a baby sleeping in the next room. What can we do to make this a more pleasant experience for you?
I love that. I am all about attention to detail. When I was doing my speed test, and I did it for the first time, like in my video, like I hadn't like practiced it because I wanted to see whatever. I was busy, actually. That's the honest truth. I was really busy. So we just did it right then. And so they were both going at the same time, and it was not loud. I could hear myself speaking and everything. And I can't say that about other cutting machines at all, right? I don't mean beyond Cricut, other brands. And Cricut has always been pretty good, and it's even better. And I really, really like that. It's nice because sound is a big deal for me because I'm always making videos and stuff. So, you know, we like quiet. All right, so I would love to know what each of yours top tip is for making beautiful clean cuts. This is something that everyone struggles with, and I have a lot of my own tips. Everyone knows that, but I want to know what each of you think would be your secret tip for making beautiful cuts on the Cricut.
I love to talk about what's new with these machines. And so some of the tips that we've found as we've done our internal testing with QA has been to make sure you have a straight leading edge on that material. Now, Cricut has got your back more than you would ever know. So we've tested materials at crazy angles, feeding it into the machine and seeing if we can still make it work. And I think you'd be surprised at what you can get away with. But really, if you want to ensure that you're not wasting material and you have an awesome cut, slit that leading edge off so it's straight, and then dock that material to the left mat guides.
To the left, okay.
Left, yeah. It's a small thing. It might make a minor improvement in cutting, but those have been the things that we found have worked best internally for us. But really, at the end of the day, we've got your back. Almost no matter how you do it, we'll make sure that you get a good cut, your material stays aligned, and you come out with some experience.
Yeah, the new trimmer that came out with the Cricut Explore 3 and the Cricut Maker 3, it's a 13-inch trimmer instead of the 12-inch one. So that's really great for getting that really smooth, straight leading edge. But then the Cricut roll holder has the trimmer built into it, and that is even easier. Because it's already fed right into it, and you just like one swipe and it's cut. I really like that. And I agree, a straight leading edge is really a big deal when we're using smart materials.
I totally agree. And I was going to build off of Douglas's too with the roll holder, because if you have that on your machine, even, it's really, I would say almost necessary. You don't have to have it, but it just makes it so much easier when you're having those big rolls. But even for small ones, like it's going to feed right into your machine, and it's so convenient. So those things definitely go a long way. I also think that, kind of the old standbys are definitely like, when was the last time did you change your blade?
Right.
The fresh, clean blade, does it have a lot of debris on it? So that's definitely like one of your first ones. If you are using a mat, how sticky is it? Another thing I like to tell people is, we tell everyone to use a brayer if you're going to, obviously for fabric, but I use it if my mat isn't quite as sticky as I think it should be.
Yeah, it helps. It does.
It helps so much just to put that even with paper or vinyl or anything like that, to try to adhere it a little bit more to your mat.
I agree. Yeah, definitely. Getting that your material well stuck onto the mat makes a big difference because it can't slide around.
Exactly.
And of course, our material quality matters a lot. Subpar cardstock can be really difficult to cut. So I'm going to plug at Cricut's cardstock right now because it's really good. So if you're struggling to find good cardstock, Cricut has really high quality cardstock. I really like it.
Well, thank you. I know that's like one of my favorite things to cut too. I was a paper crafter first before I ever tried vinyl or iron-on. And so just, cardstock is such, like, the quality of it makes such a big difference. And so you can change your blade and your mat as many times as you want, but really just having that good cardstock, and then now being able to not even have the mat like we were talking about earlier with our sticker cardstock, is really,
I know, it's amazing. It's so cool to just be able to put that right in without the mat. Oh, it's just amazing.
I know.
I love the smart materials.
I know, me too. I even love like the glue, like the no glue part of it. I'm like, oh, I just peeled this off and I stuck it right on, and it was just awesome.
I know, it's really nice because glue can like make the cardstock kind of lumpy, and it's also a huge mess.
Yes.
Or if you're doing spray adhesive, you have to like go outside. It's really nice that it's on there. It's very good. I love it.
Yeah. Speaking of messes, that's something that I love about the roll holder, where you don't, I guess I should preface it by saying you don't have to use the Cricut roll holder to get straight cuts and have everything be aligned. That's what sets Cricut apart from a lot of other companies, is you need this whole ecosystem. And even then, you've got to be really, really careful to make sure that your material is lined up and it's feeding straight. I know when I've used other machines, other companies' machines in testing to try to, learn the use case and understand pain points, it's really hard, especially if I'm working with 4, 6, 12 feet to get everything straight. So You don't have to use the Cricut roll holder, but if you do, it's going to keep you organized and definitely straight. And I've just loved it. And for me, it's been part of the story of us making your life easier as you craft. So for example, another thing I love about our machines is you don't have to pre-measure your material. So if you've designed something that's 6.5 feet, like I don't have a table that's that long, and I don't want to put that smart material on my floor because there's dust and lint and hair, and like I don't want that on my project as I'm cutting. So if I can put my roll of smart material in the roll holder, dock that onto my machine, and just have my machine measure it with those new sensors that are in the floor, my life just got 10 times easier. And I can be guaranteed of having enough material and keeping everything clean and organized as I go.
Yeah, that's one of those features that I don't think gets as much attention either, but when you put in that material, it's measuring it to make sure you have enough, and it won't let you just cut it. It'll Design Space will say, hey, there's not enough material, and it'll let you know so you can fix it, whether it's in Design Space or get new material or whatever. And I really like that too, because I'm sure all of us have cut a project and realized that we didn't actually have enough, and it's like cut off at the bottom or on the side, and we've all been there.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's awesome. That's another really nice feature. Another thing I really like is that on the Maker, this is a really small thing, but I appreciate it. You've flipped the textures on the case, whatever we call the plastic part. Is it called the case? I don't know.
Yeah.
So before it was all the shiny glossy on the top and like a sort of textured on the bottom, and it's flipped now, which I really appreciate because now my fingerprints are not showing up all over it stays cleaner, right? And it's nice. It's a good change. I like that. Yes, it's a great change.
Yep. Yeah, we have an awesome industrial design team, and they just do a phenomenal job with all of our Cricut products. You can tell there's a lot of thought and love that go into them. Even things as simple as on the clamps, the A and B on Air 2 and Maker, you'll see those metal kind of silver exposed pins in the clamps, and on the new machines, we've hidden those and just give it a cleaner aesthetic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Is there anything that you'd like to share with me? Something you didn't ask that you want to like tell our community about the new machines?
We're always open to feedback. We listen to you on social media. Anywhere where you can provide feedback, we really do care what you're saying, and we use that to drive a lot of our decisions. So keep the feedback coming, good and bad, and we'll do our best to make it happen for you.
Yes, Cricut is always listening and paying attention. I know I see many Cricut employees in our Cricut Crafters and Makers Facebook group. And I see them watching and listening to you. So that's awesome. All right. So I want to let everybody know that in case you haven't heard, the Cricut Maker 3 and the Cricut Explore 3 and all the cool smart materials are available to buy now. You can get all of the details, all of my free designs and tutorials and all of the videos I've made about them over at jennifermaker.com/Cricut3. Lots of cool stuff, including a new tutorial that's coming out the tutorial is out, but the video is coming out where we made beach towels with the smart iron-on, and they are so cool because you can make these big names and designs that we just couldn't do before. They're very, very cool. And also another one that we're doing is we're taking advantage of the long cut again to make a whole bunch of family reunion t-shirts like at once, so that when you are doing like a big project, you don't have to keep reloading the mat. You can do a whole bunch. So we're showing you how to do that in our tutorial. All right. Thank you so much, Lindsay and Douglas. This was really cool. I'm so happy that you wanted to hang out and talk with me. This was fun.
This was very fun. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's our pleasure.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Wasn't that a great interview? Again, if you want to learn more about the Cricut Explore 3 or the Cricut Maker 3 or any of the smart materials, or the Cricut roll holder, or you want to see all of the amazing projects that we've been making on these new machines, just head on over to jennifermaker.com/Cricut3. And if you have any questions about using the new machines, using our projects, or creating amazing things, please come join our community at jennifermaker.com/CricutCrafters. There are nearly 400,000 of us, and we are all eager to help you and get you on the road to making beautiful things. I hope that you have a wonderful day. And until next time, this is Jennifer Maker reminding you to craft the life you love.